It's Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, and we're going to start our select board meeting. It's 10 after 5. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Probably we should get on the record the change of how we're doing everything. We normally, next would be an open session, until we get beyond this, virus situation. I think we ought to consider foregoing open session, encourage people to call their selectmen, particularly call Dale. Send emails, call town manager, write a letter, and we'll address them. But, so if you guys, it's not, we don't really need a motion, everybody should kinda know that's what we're doing, I think.
Right.
The other thing is, if we understand the rules correctly, we're not allowed to have more than 10 people at a meeting, so we've kind of bifurcated. We've got seats in the hallway that we have a speaker to, so people can listen. We will allow people in here, up to a certain maximum, and then we'll all figure this out as we keep going along. But as far as we know, we're allowed to meet and conduct town business. Anything else, anything to say about things?
When we go under new business.
Yeah, you've got some emergency procedures we'll address later, okay. So, on to item 2, B, because Brady asked me to scratch A for now. B is March 8, 2020 Town Hall Workshop. The minutes.
Oh, approve, okay, I make a motion to approve March 8th, 2020 Town Hall Workshop minutes.
Second.
And second, all in favor? All three of us are in favor. March 12th, 2020 Annual Town Meeting Minutes. We're gonna amend those, and so we'll table that for now.
Yeah, make a motion to table that.
Second.
All in favor? Will be tabled. Item 3, treasurer's warrants.
Oh, you already have the numbers?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, I have the numbers. It's payroll 20 and 22. Accounts payable 19, 21, and 23.
Make a motion to approve A and B as read.
second?
In favor, all three of us. Oh, congratulations, Jody. I should have mentioned that you were elected for another 3-year term.
Thank you, thank you.
And this, now we're on to open session, we're gonna go right through this, onto item 5, old business. And we are way behind on this, appointing our fire chief. I guess we're supposed to do this in December. So, so apology for your short term, because you probably get reappointed next December, but anyway. We all wanted to talk to you, and we haven't visited in a long time, and, I guess one of the things we're all looking at is maybe updating the policy of the ordinance that we have.
Right.
I made you a copy, Jerry. I didn't know if you could lay a hand on, this is the one that's in effect.
And Brian, you did a fair amount of research. It looks like it was either amended or attempted to be amended several times over the last 20 years. It's confusing as to what is in effect and what isn't in effect. She's
Can't
reached.
find where
I'm
it's-
pretty sure we did have a new one
Really?
made up.
I think it would have been with John Levesque. I believe that was all redone when he was chief.
Well,
I had 2
think
versions,
it was
but I
Chuck.
couldn't find where either one was,
Gone to town.
gone to the town at town meeting. Because you have an ordinance, you have to,
Can't change it unless town votes on it.
right.
So I think what we're hoping is, because MMA has come to us with a very simple structure, it all fits on one page. And
It's simple.
we will all work together, you guys like it, we like it, and then we go to the town and say, everybody likes this, this is what our new thing will be, and so it just cleans it up. That's our hope. We got plenty of time to do that, and we'll not have another meeting for quite a while, it looks like.
Right.
So we'll work on that together.
Did anybody see the response?
I did.
Okay. So he had a couple of concerns, and then he was very adamant that you take this obviously to your legal, your
Yeah,
lawyer.
yeah.
But he expressed concern about
This is from MMA Legal that she's,
Michael
Referencing.
Lichtenstein, I'm not sure which way he pronounces it. The first item that caught my attention was Article 4, subsection 3(6), which says that that a fireman must reside within the limits of the town. State statute requires that select board members and counselors, or select board members or counselors and school board members live in the municipality. Otherwise, local residency for municipal officials and employees can only be imposed by charter. But we have firemen that aren't living in town, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so that's just one thing
So
that
that's
we're already
something that
kind
we,
Then we're not
of
even
conflicting.
yeah, we're not even following, so. And
And
then,
it's not in our charter, so.
We don't have a
can't-
charter.
Right.
So it's definitely not in it.
Do you have a copy of that very simple one too, that Jerry can have? Just so that, I mean, not tonight, but give you
I
a chance
have a
to
copy of it.
look at it and go over it and,
It's a one-page document. This is the law. I don't have the one-page document with me. It's from MMA, I'll just, what's your email, Jerry? Or-
JR@myfairpoint.net.
I must have that on my computer. I'll just send it to you, but it's literally one-page
Okay.
document of how to go about setting this up. Article. We're in violation of, the selectmen shall appoint the fire chief annually at their first meeting every year. Yep. The other thing that stood out to Mr. Feinstein was that, last section, on gifts. The Sangerville Fire Department, through the fire chief, at the discretion of the fire chief, shall have the authority to accept gifts for firefighting equipment and related items and other non-monetary donations from whatever source, such as to advance the purposes of the department. State statute says that has to go through the municipal officers, the select board, and that we have to put that in front of the legislative body every year, which we just did on Thursday.
Correct,
we do it.
which there was a question about encumbrances and, yep. So,
So-
yep, there's a
So
proper way to
that'll-
do these things.
So that'll have to be rewritten. Otherwise, he said, simple is better.
Well,
And,
the one thing you brought up at the meeting was about accepting gifts with stipulations,
yeah,
which the Stephen King grant that we just took had a stipulation that had to be spent on fire equipment. And we already had a list of what we were gonna spend it on or what we applied for. I mean, we accepted it and we bought just what we said we was gonna buy, so I mean,
But technically, that probably should have gone, we should have, no, technically about it, I'm sure we were supposed to get permission. I'm sure it would have gone through, but,
because what it was, as soon as I get the check, I brought it in and gave it to Bridie.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But at that point, we got a check in hand and,
We had a similar thing with the Legion.
yeah.
So,
I mean, everybody would accept it, but we still were, there's a process we're supposed to follow. And I think on those examples, we'll never really get in trouble, but we need to handle them correctly or someday we will get in trouble.
Yeah,
well,
and,
and that's what it's about, it's just a matter of making sure.
Well, even the rec department, it was the same kind of thing. They're like,
We've been sketchy a few times up
Yeah.
there, that was.
but they're a committee,
so did you guys, cause Shining did a lot of that, so, did she ever get any signatures from any of you folks, or? For that
no,
grant, or
she-
anything like that, or?
apparently she did it all online and she couldn't even print out the
Yeah,
actual
'cause
grant
you couldn't
for
get
me.
a copy of it either.
Yeah, so it was, yeah, a little sketchy, but
Yeah.
we had the confirmation,
the check cashed.
the check cashed, they bought the equipment they were supposed to buy according to the letter.
Did you ever have to send them proof that you spent it on fire equipment?
No.
Huh. So, I mean, how would they know, right?
It's like the forestry, you get a forestry grant, you have to say, you pay for it up front, and then they send you a check for half of it.
Reimburse, yeah.
So,
Well, I think we may have to reword our article. Eric Stumfel had a problem with the contractual, it's right here,
He was reading more into it than what it was saying.
yeah.
But that's what the point was, that's why it's worded the way it is. Because if that's open-ended, you're granting us permission to accept that.
Yeah,
So if you take that off, basically what you're saying is all the townspeople are gonna give us permission to receive any grant.
yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is,
Regardless of obligation.
correct.
Right, which you wouldn't want.
Well, you may not want, yeah.
Right,
Or you should understand that that's. what you-
Correct.
right.
So it's always been that way there, so that if there was a grant with obligations, then that would actually, instead of us approving it, then that would go back to the townspeople, and they would have to approve it.
And your answer to Jason was really all the grants should come through the town manager.
Should come through me, I
That
should
way
get
you
them.
know where they all are,
Yeah.
who's trying to get what, and
Yeah.
so, that, I mean, to me, that is protocol.
Right.
So Bridie will send you that simple document, we'll all work on it together, I think it will really clean things up, and there was an employee portion of this that is important too.
Yep, all right. Secondly, I would recommend eliminating the language of Article 4, subsection 3, that states the fire chief has sole and final discretion to employ firefighters in the department. This recommendation is not intended to undercut the advice I gave you over the telephone. I still think that you as town manager have the authority to prevent the chief from hiring someone who has an obvious disqualification if necessary. Nevertheless, eliminating the language would eliminate the potential for conflict on this point. It's addressing the issue we talked about earlier this year, back when I first became town manager.
Oh, okay.
That's,
So ultimately, she could have the say.
yeah, ultimately,
on
we
behalf
have to
of
figure out, I mean, I can't give you the qualifications for a firefighter. You know those qualifications, you take in the applications, you hire them, but there are certain things that the office needs to do, like all of their W4s, I-9s. I-9s, all of those
Yeah,
payroll
yeah.
kinds of things, we have to get those done.
Sure.
But also, I have to have the power to say, okay, there's something else going on here that,
Okay,
not necessarily that has to do with the qualifications to fight fires, but has to do with liabilities for the town.
You could have somebody that had an OUI.
Yeah,
If you became aware of that and you hadn't been aware of that, or even if you
Yeah.
had, she could then step in and say, you know what, we're not gonna do this.
yeah.
And so that's,
Those
maybe
kind of
other
things.
examples, but.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it puts you two back to the same line as far as, because at the end of the day, you're not an HR person. I mean, you're a
Right.
chief,
Yeah.
because you know what
Right.
to do in that building and fight fire.
right.
So it just lets the other side of it go to where it should be.
Yeah, so if there's labor law that I need to
Right.
say, hey, Jerry, we've got to be careful of this, and
Right.
this.
But you actually kinda do need to be an HR person, because all of those guys, I think they're all protected under municipal employee rules, and they are onerous. And have you ever been to one of those, I mean, MMA puts these clinics on all
I
the
did,
time.
years ago.
Okay.
Back my first round, yeah.
I mean, so you know, you can't, I mean, even if a guy swears at you, you can't say you're fired, you gotta write him up a certain number of times, and it's really
And
quite
it's gotta be
cumbersome.
written and documented.
It's not like the bill, is it, Dale?
No. Not even close.
So it's just, cause what,
Because everything is
even though you would
closed.
be totally right to say, get out of here, if
Yeah.
we don't do it right, the town gets sued and we all lose, so,
Where do you know that happens?
yeah, so that's.
Right, in that very concise ordinance,
Mm-hmm.
is that all addressed, everything basically that they're saying, well, you need to tweak this? I know he's talking about our ordinance,
Yeah.
but are all those things, for example, how the hiring of a firefighter would go, and that
Yeah.
the town manager has to have.
It says that the fire chief hires the firefighters, but it doesn't say as ours does, that has sole and final discretion, because,
Ah,
And it's
okay.
just super simple.
yeah,
I did read it, but that was
Yeah.
a couple of
Yeah.
weeks ago.
It's probably a good framework,
It's a good start.
but we,
Yeah.
and everybody will probably have things that they
Little
wanna,
things,
you know,
okay.
and so
fill
we
in
should
the-
look at it and say, well, we have this, this, and this in our ordinance, maybe we don't need any
Right,
of those things.
right.
Or, oops, we left this out of our ordinance, maybe we need to bring,
Well, that's the
Okay.
bad part about having too much in the ordinance, cause it's like that, I mean, you guys do have firefighters from out of town. But technically, the only way you can allow to do that is wait till next year and put it to the vote of the people and amend it, and then once that happens, then you could go ahead and do that. So if we can simplify this,
Right.
it should make it a lot
Yeah.
more flexible.
yeah.
But it shouldn't be as restrictive.
And you never know, but I'm quite confident that as long as you guys support it, and we support it, and the town manager supports it, it'll fly right through.
Right.
So, we all just wanna be on the same page.
Do you want to vote to appoint a fire chief, and then I'll just get the
Sure.
document drawn up and
I'll
have
sign it.
signatures,
Sure, that's fine.
so that we have actually on paper that we've got a fire chief?
So do we make a motion, is that,
Yeah.
so I'll make a motion that we appoint Jerry Rush, Sangerville Fire Chief.
Sorry.
Any further discussion for the term of 2020?
For the term of 2020.
We vote, all in favor? Congratulations, Jerry.
Thank you, I think.
Careful. So, then I should've just done this when we was on that conversation, so, do we do that by year, because it has to be by year? I mean, can that be a multi-year, or is it just always been a 1 year?
It's always,
I don't think Jerry at this point really wants you to give it to him for 5, by the looks he just gave me, but I was just curious to why that's only a yearly,
That's how we've always voted on chief,
fire chief.
every year.
Every year, so that's because it's in the.
chief and officers.
Well, the current ordinance says we're supposed to appoint at the first meeting of the year, so.
For a 1-year term,
For a 1-year
So
term.
that's per ordinance, or per statute?
for our ordinance.
Yeah.
And so I can see if it's
Yeah.
statute, but
That was just a question, doesn't really matter that much. Didn't know if you-
it didn't raise any red flags.
And do we need to appoint, or do you then appoint the,
We vote on all the officers.
okay, so that's within the department?
Yeah, specifically look for this and see if there are things that you don't do it this way, you know? We
Right.
have a different procedure, we have, so that we.
Yeah, but if we go to them with a new ordinance, that
Yeah.
will become the law of the land, and
Correct.
everything that
Right.
isn't or isn't.
Correct, we don't have to
gonna be
repeal the
gone.
old one, we
Exactly.
just start.
Yeah.
It's a-
That's why I like that simple one, cause it
Yeah.
doesn't say dot, 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 dot is how you do something.
Yeah,
It gives him a lot, and the
Yeah.
whole thing a lot more flexibility.
yeah.
So-
As long as Jerry and I work together, we're good.
Right, exactly.
So. All right,
Okay, are we done with A and B?
I believe we are.
Town hall status, C.
Do you want to discuss that now, or discuss emergency procedures where we have the fire
Let's do
chief
that.
with us and?
They can stay as long as they like.
Right,
Yep.
correct.
We're going to item 6. New business, A, emergency procedures for coronavirus outbreak. God forbid.
Okay, I have, I don't even know where to start first. Dover has closed their town office except through mail, and so has Guilford. Monson is doing it as we speak. The sanitary district is closed, the water district is closed.
You can't drop, will bolsters not be able to go in there and drop garbage out?
Bolsters is picking up.
Bolsters is picking up, but, the public.
Sanitary, no,
Yeah,
okay.
but
not-
District,
Not the landfill.
Not the landfill, and I don't.
Landfill is still open.
Yes, and,
last I saw.
and they were thinking of shorter hours and,
They're doing something with less handle. You
Less-
have to be able to basically take care of your own stuff.
Right.
There isn't gonna be anybody to help you,
Right.
just to get away from the contact.
yeah, but they're still open as far as I know. I spoke to Kelly McFadden, who's the superintendent of schools. There's a lot coming down that way. School's closed for 2 weeks. Looks like it could be much longer than that. They are feeding the kids, and they're sending their vans out with the bus drivers out. So I think if it ever came down to it and we needed deliveries for people who were quarantined, that maybe they could help us with something like that.
So the bus drivers are taking the food to the children's homes?
Doorsteps,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Kind of reverse deliveries,
Yeah, instead of picking up the
People are going
kids, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I noticed, my wife was on the Dexter website, and Trampus had an article on there, they were offering help. He must have a network of people who are volunteering, basically saying to elderly people or sick people, if you're not comfortable leaving your house, call the town, and we'll try to get somebody there to help you.
Yeah.
It would be kinda tough for us.
Well, I called Whitney's as
They're going
well.
that far. So.
I don't know, I mean,
Whitney's about after today and closing all the restaurants, from what I'm seeing, that was worse than last a week ago.
Yeah.
Every store is wiped completely.
yeah,
All that did was reinstill more panic than what we had before.
yeah. He said he's still getting essentials. But he doesn't know what'll be, he's getting a truck tomorrow, but he doesn't know what'll be on it.
So it just sees their shelves are empty.
Yeah,
They are?
Yeah, as soon as they banned that, shut down all the restaurants, everybody, now the world's ending, so you gotta go buy every other roll of toilet paper and.
yeah. So the legislature has put through an emergency law with an emergency preamble and enough whereases to make you cross-eyed.
But most of it, we're luckily, we already got our town meeting, so it
Yeah.
doesn't even apply.
A lot of it.
Let's see, that's
First
on private sector, that's on medical practices. Here, Part D, failure to pass the municipal budget deemed approved tax commitment. That basically says that you can run on last year's budget if you can't get it through. One that does apply to us, section D2, individual authorization of disbursements by municipal treasurer. So notwithstanding the main statute that states otherwise, or any other law or municipal charter provision or ordinance to the contrary, for the duration of a state emergency declared by the governor, and what the emergency is a whole long thing. A municipal treasurer may disburse money on the authority of a warrant drawn for that purpose, seen and signed individually by a majority of the municipal officers outside of a public meeting. So if it were to get really bad and we just wanted you guys to sign warrants, we could do that.
Without
With
having-
no motion
without-
or any, yeah, interesting, wow.
Your signature, I guess, would be basically the saying you agreed that these were real bills or
I'm getting,
come get you.
we're all on the hook for this stuff personally.
Yeah.
I know we are.
It's kids, I'm a little nervous. My
Well-
800 won't last that long.
I don't think we have any need to worry about that.
No,
But, I
agree,
mean,
but-
I guess that's why you had board insurance.
I don't have any problem meeting, and I don't see where it's gonna get bad enough.
Well, and that's the other thing, is we can meet Bridie could be here by herself, we all three could be calling in and have an actual meeting, and make motions, and it would all count, so, hopefully we don't get to that point.
We can do a teleconference, we can do
Yep.
Skype, we can
Yep.
do whatever you want.
Which
Yeah,
we
so,
couldn't do
let's see.
before
Yep.
this, so.
Part F says registrations issued by a municipality. Notwithstanding all of the above, a registration, including a temporary registration of a vehicle, including without limitation a motor vehicle, all-terrain vehicle, watercraft, or snowmobile, or a trailer required to be registered in this state that expires during the period of the state of emergency declared by the governor is deemed extended until 30 days following the termination of the state emergency.
Wow. That, we will see if
So
a reduction in flows.
does that mean when you do register 30 days after, then your expiration's is it that date?
I
I
don't
bet you
know.
they're gonna catch up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I bet you they will. But they're not going to worry about it for a while. So, access to online registration.
So you don't even need to register anymore.
As long as you got a tag that falls in that window, the trooper will leave you alone.
Yeah, if yours expired 6 months ago and you
You're-
say to the
Yeah,
you're
trooper.
still getting
yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So access to online registration shall allow a resident of this state to renew the registration, it says renew, of a motor vehicle, trailer, all-terrain vehicle, or watercraft online, regardless of whether the municipality in which that resident resides participates in the online registration service maintained by the Bureau. So,
That's interesting.
how well that'll work, I don't know.
Because Sangerville does not participate in the online.
No. Okay, and then we have part G, remote access. You may conduct a public proceeding through telephonic, video, electronic, or other similar means of remote participation under the following conditions. A, notice of the public proceeding has been given in accordance with section 406, and the notice includes the method by which the public may attend in accordance with paragraph C. B, each member of the body who is participating in the public proceeding is able to hear and to speak to all other members during the public proceeding. And members of the public attending the public proceeding in the location identified in the notice given pursuant to, are able to hear. So the public has to be able to hear all members participating at other locations. C, the body determines that participation by the public is through telephonic, video, electronic, or other similar means of remote participation. And D, all votes taken during the public proceedings are taken by roll call. So,
So we could, now that she's got the streaming set up to Facebook, we could literally all call in, hold a meeting, roll call votes, it's all legal, it's all legitimate.
Do you have to be a
Friday,
member
when
of-
you have to leave her office.
So do you have to get onto Facebook?
She now, like, is it set up now that you could stream to that?
we could,
Okay.
we could have streamed this meeting. I don't know,
But you could do
I
just
don't
I
know.
don't think
audio.
that'll work.
I don't think you can conference
I
though.
don't think streaming to Facebook is gonna work, is it?
Sure, that's a public,
Well, we'd all have to meet though. It wouldn't work if we were all on the,
well, if we were conferencing into her office, so there was
Maybe.
a speaker, and all that audio was available,
But if the person on the other end is sitting at home, how do you get on?
they can type in a question.
No, but do they have to be a member of Facebook or whatever?
They
They
have,
wouldn't-
to
well-
not a member, but they have to be able to sign
It
on
all
to our
dep-
page.
It all depends on how you have your page set up.
Oh, don't tell me that.
well, I'm sure it's a
Because-
switch.
Yeah.
I mean, you could
Yeah,
make
you
it available
toggle
to
it, toggle
everybody,
it,
Yeah.
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 If you go on the internet and
Okay.
type in.
Sangerville. Facebook.
See if it, in Facebook, and if it lets you in, then you know you're in.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't necessarily have to have a
Be a-
Facebook,
Right,
Right.
Account.
member or whatever, an account,
right?
right, because that would be important,
But you are gonna get plenty of people who say, I don't have a computer.
right,
Yeah.
But I think we're still covered in terms of the law.
right.
Is our phone set up so you can have multiple people call in for a speaker?
I will have to go check on that. But we found the booklet, so I can look that up without problem.
Because I mean, if that was the case, that might be easier than,
Yep,
but the only thing is, as long as, so like, I've been on teleconference like that where you're controlling the meeting off your phone, and then that way there, nobody can ask you questions.
right,
So that way there, they only do have voice. Because you wouldn't want a speakerphone and have 20 people on it, and you're listening to 10
Right.
dogs bark and.
right. I'll have to look, I don't.
Hopefully, we don't get to that, but you never know.
So those are the big ones that apply to us. So we have not closed the office to the public as of yet. I think it'll be soon. If it's not tomorrow, it will be by Monday.
You wanna just do it tonight?
Would you, I mean,
Again.
Let's just
we-
do it.
We'll do whatever you, if you would
Right,
like to
whatever
close
you-
it tonight, we'll close it tonight. Why do you think your new door?
Like my new door.
Yeah, yeah.
May keep my new door indefinitely.
Just keep using it.
Yeah, keep-
What's the, reception
Yeah.
been?
Nobody,
Nobody's minded, huh?
no,
Interesting.
everybody looks at it.
So I'm pretty sure, I just, on my phone, that's the Sangerville on Google. That is our Facebook page,
Okay.
and when you hit it, it does ask you to log in or create an account. But if you keep scrolling, get rid of that, cause you don't wanna create an account, that's it.
You can get
see the
in.
whole page.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
would think that
That it
if you
is
do not use
public.
Facebook, you can still
Still-
access it.
So do we wanna give Bridie on the record, the authority to close the office when ever she feels like it should be done, or do we wanna close it?
Let's just do it.
Just close it?
Yeah,
I mean, virtually nearly every other town's closed.
right.
Yeah,
And I think,
everybody's contemplating it who hasn't already done it.
Well, actually, I wanna see what Jerry's thoughts was, cause I've been noticing that a lot of, I haven't seen Dover do it yet, or I'm not sure about Guilford, I haven't talked to Jeff. But a lot of the bigger towns, they're posting out that the fire department, ambulance service, police station, and town office is closed. There's
Yeah.
no public access to anything.
Right.
So I'm not sure, I mean,
I don't know, that doesn't sound right to me. I mean, if somebody calls for help.
No,
they
no,
can't
You
come in
still
your
report.
building.
it's your building is what we're
Oh,
talking
the
about.
building.
The building itself is closed, you can't, it's not open,
Yeah, I-
free for everybody.
Yeah.
But as far as, you get a call, you're going, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yes, but as far as access into the building,
Oh, okay, no, I agree with that,
they're not letting
Yeah.
them in.
yeah.
And we're all,
Members only, you
Yeah.
guys gotta meet, you gotta do, but I think you would follow the same deal as what we're under right now, the 10-guy rule. You can't have more than 10 people as a social. If you get a call, that's not
you probably,
social.
probably not doing training?
Yeah, I would cancel training,
Well, I
actually.
already did.
Okay.
You did.
Let's
We're
do it.
supposed to have training tomorrow night.
has the CDC reached out to chiefs anywhere?
I got some stuff on it, yeah.
I mean, if you guys encounter someone who's obviously ill, is there a protocol for you?
Well, I got paperwork here where I can get gowns, masks, gloves, safety equipment, PEE,
Is that from the county?
from the county,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got that
came from
too.
the county. I just printed it up. I'm gonna order gowns and masks and gloves and whatever. I'm not sure how much of this stuff we can get, cause I've been hearing that
It's
it's pretty
not-
limited, but,
Yeah,
I got it, I saw it this morning, so.
it would be good to have at least a few guys who are trained on how to put the stuff on.
Yeah.
So if somebody calls and says, we need help getting downstairs, we don't
Yeah,
want
we're
anybody to get sick.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the other thing, you mentioned earlier about how Dexter's putting something up if people need help. That's, I would put my name on, I already help a few people as it is get stuff, but if I knew that there was gonna be masks or something available, I wouldn't mind helping a few more. But if,
We don't have any masks, we have one box of gloves, we have,
no, but you have access to this.
we have
so
hand
between the two,
Depends on
sanitizer.
what Jerry gets.
Yeah.
This box is
100%.
empty.
No, that's what I'm saying, though, if we get it, if we can get some of that, that would be a way that
Yeah.
we could post up and to help more people.
Right, and I was saying, like if we could get, if somebody was quarantined and needed food, maybe we could do those kind of things. I'm gonna reach out to the UU church, see how, if they're stocked with any foods,
If
whether,
you get somebody in quarantine and you don't have masks and gloves, and I wouldn't worry about it, because you're not gonna go help them.
yeah,
They're in quarantine for a reason, you're not gonna go
Don't see how
have,
you can.
you would have to be,
Got a trained
you
person.
gotta be suited up,
Yeah.
yeah.
so.
I don't know if you could, if they call you and say, hey, I need, some cans of vegetables or something,
Toilet
you
paper.
take them out and put them on the doorstep.
Yeah, I suppose you could leave it
Yeah.
on their doorstep and
Yeah.
walk away, you don't touch a
Yeah.
doorknob, it
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not a bad idea.
that's what the food delivery's doing in China, it's like your pizza's over there, sir. You pay for it,
That's what I was-
electronically.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think we ought to have something up on our website for, just as a reminder for everybody to look out for their neighbor,
Yeah.
now more than ever,
I'll pull something
And if you
together
wanna do
tomorrow and
something-
just run it by all of you to see if you've got anything to add, and then I'll post it. Facebook, webpage.
Yeah, it's definitely a time when everybody needs to be thinking about that stuff.
So, Bridie and I talked a little bit before this meeting started, and, I think the feeling is there's a lot of work to be done, even though the doors won't be open to the public. So, the clerk and the assistant clerk and Bridie, when she's here, will still be doing town work, and everybody will still get paid. If we run out of work, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Right.
But are you thinking you wanna, the way my interpret, like Guilford, they're still doing stuff over the phone. I mean, the office itself is closed, but everybody's still there.
Right, the door is closed, but you're working.
Right.
Right.
That's what I mean, so I
Right.
mean, the paid.
Business
We'll get our tax, we got all
Yeah,
kinds of work to
oh,
do,
yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
we're gonna be doing it without interruption, or much interruption.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
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 And if you wanna do your registration by phone or fax in your stuff, that's fine, you just have to understand it'll take a little longer, cause there may be some back and forth of documents and,
Right.
but yeah,
We
So-
don't do credit cards though, right?
we can. It's 2%,
We just charge them the 2% rather than pay it,
yeah.
I see. Okay,
But even if somebody could pop it in the mail too, to you with a check. If they
Yeah.
called and you gave them the amount,
Yep,
right?
until we get the check though, they don't get the,
All
the
right,
paperwork.
And then you
But they don't
have-
need the registration, cause you're 30 days over
Right,
anyway.
Oh.
right, so it's not,
Right,
only-
that's not crucial right now.
and anybody who, has an SR, whatever it is, 22, they're out of luck, cause the state's cut down. They can pay their excise tax, but they can't do anything else
So they're
anyway.
following under that same rule, they gotta wait 30 days after anyway.
Yep,
So,
yep, so,
so your new registration would be just like a tag, if you got a new registration that ran out today, or tomorrow,
I do.
you probably got 30 days.
yeah.
Is your replacement for the Subaru?
No, we got a new truck.
Oh, good, good.
yeah, we got that before the state of emergency.
I know, but I haven't.
So now
Well,
you're
the
at
state of
the-
emergency, no, the state of emergency is retroactive in most of these cases.
Her plate ran out in time, so she's good, she doesn't need to register it for 30 days after. I just give her hell.
Most of these
It's the
are,
excise tax we want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
You can't give another year out of the excise. That's what you really wanna do.
All right, anything else with regard to this
Do we need
procedures?
to, well, just as
Oh,
far
we
as
wanna make a
Bridie
motion,
closing
yeah.
the office, should I make a motion that, are we gonna give Bridie the authority to close it, or
I would say we give her the authority to close the office,
close the office and,
seem right?
Cause the library's already closed
The
anyway.
Yeah,
library
yeah.
is closed,
Yeah.
and is, intends to stay closed until this thing is over,
yep,
so.
yep.
Do you
So-
want that verbiage on the website for there, over there as well, as far as public access?
Yeah,
That way
Yeah.
there, it gets it
Yeah.
all out on Facebook and
yeah.
make it a little easier for,
right, and
Not
office.
that we have a lot of visitors, but I mean, you know,
you never know.
Don't you have cribbage or something over there? Is that all canceled? Or
I'll
bingo?
check on that, that's a good question, that's actually, that's tonight.
Oh, boy.
Planning board is not
Probably tell them tonight for that.
in the next couple of weeks. I've asked, the Historical Society, I've gotta get a hold of somebody from Pirate Rec to say they can't be holding any meeting here. Of course, if they don't come in to get a key, then they can't get in
I'd cancel all
anyway.
meetings
Yeah.
other than, I mean,
Yeah.
if we have to meet, that's different, it's town
Yeah.
business, but
That's right.
there's
we don't-
nothing else that needs to happen.
And we don't have to meet for 2 weeks because technically we don't have another,
Totally
unless-
beginning of-
unless things get really
Right.
hairy and then we have to meet anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, no. There's a lot of verbiage out there on how to do that, so, you know. So I'll take the best parts of,
Guilford's look pretty good,
yep,
I just swap out the name.
Yep,
You pretty
make
well
sure
got
you
it
get-
right there.
Yeah,
Yep.
make sure it's popping out.
so.
Motion.
Oh, so I'll make a motion that we give Bridie the authority to close the office
To the public.
to the public.
Second,
And,
any further discussion?
That's closed until everything settles out so we're okay.
yeah,
Until,
Whatever it is.
until further.
further
Yeah,
notice.
well,
Right.
I'd give her the same authority to reopen.
Right.
100%, that's why I
Right,
just wanna make sure that everybody understands that.
Yeah,
Yep.
open and close.
Yep.
Yep.
Vote, it's unanimous, and it's your intention to close tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll post it all and we have plenty of stuff to do. And I'll keep in touch with you in terms of what we can do for people,
I mean, anything that we can do, I'll see what I can get for safety stuff and if somebody needs help, I mean, we're gonna help them, so.
Yep.
Even if I just walk up and drop something off and
Yeah.
then go.
well, the school's doing that.
That's way better than not having nothing at all.
Well, if you're a guy waiting for it, they'd be thrilled to see you, so,
Exactly.
yeah.
So,
The school's doing that and, they've already had requests from people who are worried about how they're going to feed their kids.
Jerry, when you get that document from Bridie, don't be shy about, marking up what you're thinking, send it back to her, and she'll send stuff to us. We can get these things advanced without necessarily a meeting, so that,
Yeah.
we kinda have the framework, so we'll bat them back and forth, and,
Right.
Yeah, and don't read it and say, what the hell, because honestly, it's a one-page document, we all say,
Right.
hey, cool, this is simple, we haven't spent any time.
we
haven't
haven't,
looked
it wasn't our document, it's just
Yeah.
a framework, so.
It's, generated from the MMA.
Yeah,
So it's not something that we've put any.
we've
time
looked
in.
at it enough to say,
And-
yeah,
and
that's it.
said,
We like the
"Oh,
size
this
of
is-
it. That's
this
about
is
it."
really simple,
Yeah.
that's all we've said.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like the simplicity,
Yeah.
that's about it.
But we'll just start bouncing it around between all of us, and then hopefully by the time we get together to agree on something, we're 80% of the way there, so.
Right.
So what's around Sangerville for supplies? I mean, is there
Nothing.
food cupboard? I
Food
don't know.
cupboard.
We got
is-
food covered up here.
Yeah, I'll
I
call.
will say, just because somebody might ask you, I was at the clinic, because I have a new knee and I PT there, and the therapist was explaining to me, they have that, you see that hazmat
Yeah,
tent.
yeah.
And that's a very sophisticated, it's heated, it's got multiple rooms. So if a citizen is concerned and they feel like, gee, maybe they need to have a test, they drive up to that, they make a phone call in advance, and somebody greets them out there and tries to determine whether they are a candidate for a test. If they are, they get tested right there.
So that's like a decontamination tent?
It's more of an actual isolation
Isolation.
exam room. So you're isolated away from the primary building, but it's pretty.
And they don't even get out of the car.
Oh,
The doctor, or whoever's I saw one, he was interviewing somebody in a car, he's got all the gear on, and I don't know,
It's like
he
full
took the
counseling.
temperature, and he was gonna make a decision right then whether he was gonna give them a test or not.
Yeah.
And then send them home. And I'm sure if you test positive within a day or so, someone's gonna come see you. But,
Yeah.
so if somebody's asking you guys,
Right.
that's what's going on up there, and that's where I'd send them.
So as far as I know, I mean, symptoms of this virus, first thing is temperature, right? I mean,
High temperature.
everybody-
High
most
temperature,
people-
dry cough,
Yeah, and,
no runny nose, nothing like that, it's not the flu.
yeah.
It's dry cough, no runny nose, high temp.
My wife's an RN, and that's the first thing they do is take everybody's temperature. Cause they're still going home to home to home, she's a hospice nurse.
Oh,
So, I mean, that's the first thing they do, plus, put all their stuff on, protect them, but.
It's kinda neat that we've got one of those right here in Sangerville.
yeah, yeah. Now, that tent, does the car drive through that
No,
tent? They
there's
come
two-
out of
there's
that?
To it.
There's two there, in fact, there's instructions, I think, call this number.
Oh, I see.
Don't get, and you don't even get out of your car.
Wow,
And now, maybe if you're sick enough, they take you into that building, I'm not sure how all that works. but-
okay. When I was talking to you about it earlier, they're setting one up down in Dover as well. I don't know whether it's the same sophistication, cause is it?
I would have believed.
Yeah.
It's all coming out of Northern Lights.
Yeah, because I saw them setting it up, but they were just beginning to set it up, so.
Yeah.
It sounds.
And they may have one that's in Greenville, I don't know. But-
Yeah, and I thought that you needed like a referral, like you call your primary care, the
Could
primary
be.
care says,
What was
Wow.
it, there were two cars there when I was there. though.
wow, wow.
And the people in the cars were masked.
The way I understand it, if you drive up or call to go there,
Yeah,
you're going there before they even let you in the door.
right, no, you call your primary care and the primary care basically refers you to drive to
Yeah,
this.
you don't even have to,
Oh.
you drive in that driveway, you're going there.
Oh, wow, wow.
Yeah, there's
That's-
nobody there right now.
Wow.
So,
Ah, boy.
Okay, I think we're all set, guys, you can stay if you want, but you don't have to, so thank you
We
very
won't
much
make
for
you.
coming in.
Okay.
all right.
Item 7, town manager's report.
Basically, everything I
Night.
have is on the
Thank you.
coronavirus, so I don't
Okay.
really have anything new.
You too.
Thank you.
Road commissioner's report?
I have new numbers from, as far as a contractor to do, summer work for us on the roads, I have numbers from Zach Herrick, Steve Lawson, Roundies. I haven't heard back from Parity. we kind of played phone tag. Do I have any others? I think that's it.
Roundy's was our McPeters.
Yep.
Yeah, paper.
Yeah.
Roundy's has given me a paving numbers.
Did Randy say anything about grading?
They have a grader now.
You gotta, but are they
They just-
Interested?
give you any numbers?
I have numbers, but they're not
We
with
don't
me.
need, okay. Well, I mean, that's.
Yeah, they gave me numbers, they
But I
gave
mean,
me,
that's, the next thing that needs to be done is grading.
exactly,
Sooner than we can imagine.
Yes.
yeah. So I got a call from Zach today wondering if we passed the budget and where we were on these numbers, so yeah,
And
we've
actually
got,
Zach's grader too.
yeah, Hopkins paving, I asked them for a bid, they do Dovers. They have Dovers and paving this summer, so I let
Never
them.
heard of him.
I had
I've
the-
seen their trucks.
I've had them come out and look at the Sangerville Road. I've asked all the people that I asked for numbers to come look at the road, but nobody else has. So, and I was hoping that the road committee we were gonna meet tomorrow night, but we aren't doing that.
And they looked at the road in the
Hopkins
last. in
looked at the
last-
road with me on Tuesday
Oh,
morning,
wow, okay.
and so he was gonna give me some ideas of what he thought ought to be done. But I was going to meet with the road committee and say, okay, guys, what do you think we need to do? Where do we need to start? And then move on to the gravel roads, because obviously some of them are a real mess at the moment.
I was kind of thinking we were gonna get a deal on paving because none of these other towns would be
Oh,
able to
they
pass
would.
their budgets.
Yeah,
Turns out they all passed the budget, they didn't have to show up.
Yeah, there might be some towns that didn't pass much.
Yeah,
for paving last
yeah,
year.
maybe they had planned on doing more paving.
That's true.
Right.
yeah. And I
So-
asked if the prices were falling, because, you know,
Yeah.
fuel prices.
Gasoline's falling.
That's
But
right.
so far, no,
A lot of it's labor.
yeah,
What did you say, a lot is a labor?
Labor, yeah, it does,
Yeah.
in fact, labor went
Diesel's
up.
not dropping off much.
yeah, so,
But there's gonna be a lot of people out of work too. I mean, we went from full employment to depression level employment
Yeah.
here shortly, the way this is going. So, well, hopefully we get some numbers there soon.
And do you intend to try to get some input from the road committee, or how?
that was my intent. I think regardless of my intent, a former member is going to give me his opinion tomorrow.
Okay.
How does a
Former
former member
member?
even get to give an opinion? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I guess the office is closed.
Well, he knows where I live and he knows where I
Oh.
work other than here, and he will probably be in to see me. He's already snagged my husband and dragged him out to look at roads. Yeah, but so I had Chummy Warren, Toby all lined up, Josh Tracy never got back to me. I don't know that we have any other members of the road committee, but I figured Warren's driven the roads all winter long, he could give me some
Yeah.
good input, you know.
Well, Kelly Jordan.
Could ask Kelly if he wanted to.
And Kelly rides the road steady.
Yeah. I contacted, Steve Northrop. He said he'd ride the roads with me and look at them and give me some advice. He was road commissioner for Parkman for a couple of years. I talked to Rob Haley. He gave me the name Galen Costigan in terms of looking at your paving and seeing what he thought. He used to work for the state. He's in Florida right now, so maybe he won't be an option because he won't be able to get back, but I don't know. Trying to pull numbers together. I'm going to make you a
Biggest thing, the
worksheet.
biggest value of the road committee is the knowledge of previous years that we don't have written down anywhere.
Yeah, or that I find somewhere. I found a 10-year plan that was up, I think this year. I'm like, I've been asking why we don't have one of those for years. It was in a folder somewhere.
Amazing. I
So,
think you'll be finding a lot of that stuff with the
well,
office closed.
with the office closed, I can get to some of the projects we can,
Yeah, and just, do you have a decent shredder?
no,
You don't.
no. We have 3 small shredders.
We have a big wood furnace right at the town garage.
We're talking about,
Oh, having a burn party?
Yeah, well, the town clerk has to, if you burn, the town clerk has to be there to.
Do you burn the town clerk?
Certify your
To
burn.
certify that all of the pieces of paper got burned and you didn't, some of it didn't just fly away or, you know,
That's the good part about using the furnace up there.
Yeah.
It's easier.
yeah. I don't know, Warren and I wanted to go roast marshmallows and hot dogs while
Okay.
this all burned, but we'll see.
Okay.
So, yeah, we've got plenty of stuff to do that way. And I will get you all the numbers that I've gotten from paving companies. And I will pull together all the numbers that I got from contractors. Trouble is, they all have different equipment and charge things out differently. And so it's gonna take some sit-down time when I'm not worried about the coronavirus and all of that to.
Now that you're closed, there's probably a good period here where Terry could come in and get whoever you want to up to speed on the webpage.
That would be Sarah.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
Her computer is now set up so that she can do all the web page, because we tried it earlier. She couldn't get into the admin on that computer for some reason, and she didn't have the program that converted the tape to,
Right.
but now she does, so.
And I don't know anything about it, but, of course Terry does her company's webpage, and she said our webpage is the minimum you get for free, basically, that we might
Yeah.
wanna look at having a more robust, but that's something you guys can
Well,
look at once she's up and running.
I think that's true. I also think somebody who does your web page ought to answer your calls.
Yeah, that
And
seems
I
reasonable.
can't seem to get that, so,
All that she's running is the domain.
yeah.
She's getting a penny
Yeah.
for that, I don't know,
Yeah.
pennies, but
Yeah.
that's really all it is, because every once in a while that stops working and we give her a call, it's like, okay, it's going again.
Yeah.
That's all it is the domain.
She's like, you need to pay your bills. Like, well, you need to send it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
But the page itself is our
Yeah.
baby,
Yeah.
and I think, she believes that, you know, it might be worth spending a little bit more to have one that would do more. you
Yeah.
know, But,
So going off from that, I don't know if any of you guys have been on Dover's website. You need to.
yeah, but not,
So go on Dover's website. and
Years
then
ago I was.
Click on their link to tax cards, tax maps, can't remember the
Oh.
verbiage.
all of it's on there. Mhm.
Oh, so.
it's really cool.
It's way cool. You're gonna love this. So you click on the link and it opens it up.
Right.
So then you start zooming in, you move to wherever you wanna be. It's
It's like
like,
topos,
it's more like a Google map, it's a
Okay,
center,
so-
train map.
but the
Oh, okay.
tax maps are there.
So you start zooming in and boom, all your lines come up.
Oh, cool.
And then you've got a drop down off the side that's part of your planning board, but it shows you can go to a topo map.
Wow.
You can go to all your wetlands. I mean, the list is amazing.
All kinds of filters.
I've never seen those.
What you can
cards.
click in and it just keeps populating itself.
Wow.
And then, so once you're right there on this map, so you're physically looking at where it is, you click on the number, and that brings up the tax card.
Wow.
And you click
Very cool.
again, that brings the pictures, it's all interactive right there, it's
So is-
so nice.
Is that they have their taxes in-house?
I have no idea, I just,
So where does that
How
come?
is do it, how are there, maybe it's something our assessor could provide, I don't know, but it's worth looking at, because it's a very nice system.
the wetland part, I mean, everything is in there, it is unreal.
Cool.
What you can
I
click
will
in
do
and
that.
I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I've been poking around at quite a few town websites lately, so.
Yeah, I guess I only look at ordinances and policies and those kind of things. I haven't looked at that at
Yeah.
all.
But that would
That's
be
neat.
interesting
It
to
really
find
is.
out. Wow. Who's doing their taxes?
Mhm.
Is it in-house or is it a program that they have?
Well, as I was clicking, thinking, it's like, I wonder, is this what full-blown Trio would do for you if it
Oh,
was
I
there?
wonder.
If it was a
I wonder.
cloud-based system. But I mean, that whole wetland thing and all of that, that's shoreline zoning. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
It's all
yeah,
there,
it's
just keep
all-
clicking.
Wow.
It just keeps
And it just
highlighting everything
keeps-
up, yeah. So you can take away as many features as you want and
Mhm.
just look at it that way.
Cool.
We probably have
It's a
a
really-
lot of work to do to get, cause like I look at our E911
Oh,
and
you never know.
I look at Dexter's and they've got all these things drawn in and all the tax map stuff drawn in and I don't even have addresses on a
But that's
lot
what I
of
mean,
things.
until you
and
get
so-
to the, that's about, was the original thought of having the full trio, was to
Mhm.
to
That we're
start.
gonna do that all in-house.
Yeah.
All of it.
Or have the software, have it so we control it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not saying that we still can't have a Hamlin, or you can't have anybody working with you, but
Right,
if we
right.
control the software, But I have no idea what that is, but.
Yeah.
It'll
it's
be
worth
interesting to
looking
check
at.
with Mr. Cook and see what they're doing there,
Yeah.
because it is very cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
We'll check it out and then call Jack.
Yeah, that's good.
Bridie, because you asked me to, I stepped over C as part of item 5.
yep.
Which is, town hall status, and we should definitely visit that.
I thought we probably wanted to visit that since we had town meeting, and, I don't think we learned a darn thing new from town meeting. The same people spoke, we've got the same opinions.
Well, I felt like we did learn something. In fact, I said it was clear there were two groups.
Yeah,
One
that's very
group
clear.
says, essentially, there's nothing wrong with that building, don't worry about it, we can patch it up and we'll get on.
Okay, I'd heard from both of those
Right,
groups,
and
so I
in
was
fact,
like, yeah.
somebody said,
Yeah.
we're never gonna fix the upstairs, it's gonna be too expensive, just mothball,
Yep.
okay, that's
Yep.
interesting. But then there's the other group, that it's the heart and soul,
Yeah.
and I don't think they really liked hearing what was being said on the other side of the room.
Well, the interesting thing is, I think we've tried both of those strategies in the last 30 years, and it's ended us here at this spot. I mean, they said in the early 90s that we're gonna save this, and they started off gung-ho, and they spent nearly 100,000 down here getting this so that we can use it as we're using it now. They, in 4 or 5 years, they did the big project with the basement, and then it's like, oh, we've signed up for 10 years of debt, we need to we need to
This is
step back,
too
and
big a bite, yeah.
we can't, on a municipal budget, we can't do this.
And they said they were gonna wait 10 years, they were gonna just
They
sit
did, they
it out
literally
for
said,
10 years.
Well, they did.
That's about it for the next 10 years.
And that's a
And
long
so,
period of time.
so they've tried to save it, and they didn't
That's the patch it
accomplish
up
that.
route.
And so then they tried the patching route, where you did 7,000 on the roof, and you did 10,000 here and 10,000 there, and eventually that all catches up with you too, and you have a building that isn't worth
Nothing.
anything, or is going to take you so much money to make it safe and keep it open to the public that you can't afford to do that. So I think we've done both of those things.
But I thought it was very interesting that we have all of our in-town experts about the building. And as you sat there, it was, a little bit of paint and plaster fixes it and you're all set. Or the other one tells you that it's all plumb and square and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And then, but as we go, through that meeting, it progressively got worse.
Yeah.
So we went from, as Mike said, paint and paper, to all of a sudden you're at $2.4 million. So even using our internal resources, it kind of proved to me that maybe that's not the right direction.
The other thing I got some feedback from, which was kind of interesting, I had 2 different phone calls from people who had been out and talked to other people that were at the meeting that all felt like Matt. That were basically,
But
what
didn't
are we
speak up.
doing in that building in the first place? What's the connection?
Yeah.
Why are we spending $10,000 to heat the place? And to a person, they said, but I didn't dare speak up. And I think there's more people who are feeling that way than we know.
I'm wondering if we need to do a survey of some sort. No?
I've already done my survey.
Yeah,
I'm perfectly
You're
fine, thinking that there is way more people in this town with the thought process that this is a really neat building and it's really cool, but I don't wanna pay for it.
Yeah,
That it needs to go to a nonprofit or somebody that's gonna take this building, grab it and go.
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Tom Carone actually, and I called Tom after the meeting, I thought what he said at the end of that meeting was spot on. And what I told him, I mean, Tom, he said exactly what we've all been thinking and talking anyway. And I did talk to him about the Historical Society, and he instantly, I thought, well, the way he talked, he was gonna be here tonight. But his worry with the Historical Society is the dwindling numbers. And I kind of reminded him that, they can do the plant sale, they couldn't do the dinner. The numbers are dwindling, but now they've got a surge of energy because of the building. Instead of looking at it as the Historical Society and then the Friends of the Town Office building, if you do this as a Historical Society, maybe you can take
People
all
are gonna
that
join.
enthusiasm
Well,
and
they should.
make the Historical Society grow.
It's
Right.
kind of those two sides. You might be able to blend quite a force out of the two of those.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of those people that, you know, so-called experts, some of them are probably pretty knowledgeable. They join, they want a committee on, you know, the sequencing, on how you revamp this place. But it all belongs separate from the town
Right,
office.
right.
And I think what we should do is forge ahead, come up with an alternative that is practical, that makes sense fiscally, and let the townspeople vote on it.
Okay.
Do you guys wanna do this or not?
Yeah.
And then, and I think once we're out of the way, once Bridie and the clerk and the assistant clerk are in a brand new building and we're heating it for a few $100s a year, and this building's sitting here, I'll bet you the Historical Society or something like it takes charge of this thing, and it's probably its best chance at surviving.
It was interesting that we had some outside of town support.
Yes.
So maybe you can pull some more people, I mean, I think you have to.
It was I mean, people got clearly emotional
Yeah,
about their
yeah.
old building, but we've got other old buildings that are in just as much trouble. And
Well, I mean, look at the Legion and the
the
Masonic
church is
Hall.
literally, the steeple's falling off.
Yeah, that was kinda scary to learn that as all of our public are driving by that.
So my feeling is the best thing that we can do for the town is to forge ahead with a good option.
Yeah.
If they vote it down, they vote it down. But hopefully, I know this germ thing is gonna be tough, but
Right.
there's two big concepts here. I think we gotta figure out a kind of a floor plan, a rendering that people can relate to, and then the second question is gonna be, well, where are you gonna put it? And those
Right.
two things are separate, but we should be able to come up with some options that
Right.
people can get their minds around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing though about this whole, and I mean, we don't have to get into any detail, but with this virus and everything going on, the community room and the library and the town office all coming in and out of the same door, that's not really a very good thing.
It's not optimal.
No.
So,
Yeah.
just one more piece to this,
No.
which before last week, we really wouldn't have given that a whole lot of thought, but, so.
Well, I had a conversation with a young citizen of Sangerville whose family's been here forever and ever, but is somebody who's now taking over the family business and does not want to be strapped with the cost of this building. And I had a discussion about moving, and he was 100% behind that. And, you know, brainstorming as far as location and things like that. And again, that's a young person who is paying taxes and paying a lot of taxes to the town of Sangerville. And just said, this is not something I want to put my tax dollars towards. So,
Was he at the meeting?
he was at the meeting.
He didn't speak up,
He
did
didn't
he?
speak up.
See,
No.
this is the thing, I think there's a lot more of those than we
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Well, and I almost stood up at the end of the meeting and said, okay, I've heard from all of the people who've spoken tonight. Is there anybody here who wants to?
I know.
I
know.
But
I
they
give
didn't-
Matt credit, he waited till the last minute, but at least he's,
He did speak up.
yeah,
Yeah.
and his points were spot on,
Right.
no.
So as far as what you said, Mike, as far as moving ahead, I do think that we will have support. You know, that, for example, this young man, I said, you know, then we're gonna need.
You're gonna rally the troops.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
And he said, I'll be there.
and I think, I hope that the people who really wanna save this building realize that probably the best way to save it is to take control of it.
Right.
Because
They will have control of it.
it can never get torn down if
That's
they own it.
right. That's right.
Well, I did talk to Jack Lukey again after Diane announced that they own the building, and they do own the building, and they are paying all the
Yeah.
utilities now.
Yeah.
But they gave or worked a deal with their historical society, which morphed
They did
into.
the same thing we did with Abbey Fowler.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly
But
the same
That
thing.
doesn't mean that our arrangement would mirror their arrangement,
No,
Doesn't mean we have to take it back.
you know.
no, but I'm just saying it's something we don't want.
Yeah.
Right. We don't
We
want
don't
that.
want to
No,
happen
it-
because
no.
they appeared to get out from under it and they're doing fine where they are, but they still
Yeah,
paying the utilities on this building.
Wow.
And they aren't finished, he said, in the downstairs. And they do have that senior daycare center, but they're getting like $1 a month. I mean,
Oh,
they're
boy.
not,
It's a negative.
it's a
Yeah.
negative. I
No.
mean, they're just providing a service,
Service.
yeah.
You know, if you're so impassioned by this building that it literally moves you to tears,
That's right.
you should be thrilled on the morning that you can wake up and say, guess what?
It's ours.
This is ours.
That's right.
And no one can ever take it away from us. We got a lot of work to do, but,
And if paint and paper's all it takes to fix it, then that just moves them that much forward.
yeah,
That's
no, it's
right.
almost like, the good news is, there's not that much bad news.
That's right. That's right.
So, but I mean, who knows?
And then as far as if, for example, with the Abbey Fowler School, when they took it over, and do the insurance things all go away as far as insuring the building? I mean,
Well, it's not our
right,
responsibility,
no, I
right.
know that, so.
I think when we did that one, we took care of all that.
But to the point, I guess what I'm thinking is, there's not a lot of sense in spending money on more engineers to come in and
Right.
say, whether this building is perfect or less than perfect or terrible, it's not the place for our town office.
Right,
If you bring 10 engineers in here and they tell you the
Yeah.
same exact thing,
and we'll have
again,
spent,
it is not gonna matter, because
That's
you're
right.
gonna hear it that either this wasn't right or that was, they're
And
not
or they're
gonna
too
believe
young, or-
anybody that comes in.
that's right.
You're probably right.
And
Yeah.
I don't think it's relevant, I mean,
Well, you need to make, we need some numbers for what a new building would cost, what,
that direction.
we need,
Yep.
Right,
We don't need
we need
anything for
something on
this
the
building.
on the other side, I mean,
Right.
because we couldn't come up with those numbers fast enough to present them.
No, and well, we don't, who knows what this summer's gonna hold, but hopefully we're able to have a meeting before school starts
Yeah.
again.
That'd be awesome.
And in that meeting, we have, a plan, a rendering, an architectural
I mean,
example.
a special,
Yeah,
a special,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you take like those portable classroom type buildings, something simples, something like that, those, I don't think it's not gonna be that much
Well,
money.
I sent you guys, did you get to see the picture of the Benton Town Hall? Benton,
Yes,
Maine?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Benton has a
Is that the
population
one you
that's
said
more
you're
than.
moving to?
Because if you read their, they have a
Oh, yeah,
Benton,
yeah, yeah,
they have
that's
a
it.
population that's twice what ours is.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful little town hall.
oh, yeah.
They've put a modern sign up there that's so inside you can change your town, it's all
Oh, the
electric.
meeting, you can
Yeah,
post things.
Yeah, whatever it's all, it's neat as a pin.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have a mill rate of 15.
Is that right?
In fact, if you want to enroll in any of the surrounding libraries, it's not a problem. They will
They pay for
reimburse you for it.
And they don't have a fire department?
And the fire coverage comes out of Fairfield.
They gotta make.
But they don't have a library, that's what they're doing, is go
Yeah,
down, you
they're.
go to any library you want,
And
we'll
they'll
come
pay
in
for
and
it.
use.
Oh, we could do that so easily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I had that conversation with my mother and she agrees with us.
Okay.
So between now and the special town meeting, I think it
That
would be
needs to
great
be
if she would
ironed
kind of
out.
write a little letter saying, whichever way you go, is fine with us. We enjoyed being your library, but, I think we can get there. We'll see. I mean, I haven't had this conversation with her, but.
Is your mom the president of?
She's the president.
Oh, okay.
She said enrollment is off a lot.
Okay.
And that if the town decides to keep the library, their footprint is gonna be much smaller than it is now. They basically would go an electronic route. And so,
Yeah.
and she agreed with me. We talked about reimbursement. She said, oh, yeah, we could reimburse. The town could reimburse anybody who wanted a membership, and it would be a lot less than what they're spending now. But if they wanna keep doing what we're doing, that's fine. If they don't,
Okay.
that's fine too. So,
Okay, wow.
so we'll get
So
them
that's-
on board
yeah.
before we ever.
Yeah, because that was one of the conversations that somebody had said to me, what about the library? You
Yeah,
can't
well,
get-"
one of the gentlemen said, well, if the town wants a library, they'll have a library.
That's
Sure.
right.
Yeah,
It's not that
and they
Yeah,
will.
Yeah,
It's-
that was a conversation I had with somebody.
But
So,
again, it's kind of a crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna build a new building, the town should decide, what do they wanna do? And we'll have that conversation.
yeah,
So,
So I fired up a tape measure just for curiosity.
Oh, yeah?
When I got here. So from the library door to the front door, it's 28 feet,
I figured 30.
but you got 8 feet of hallway. So, I mean, you don't.
Right,
So all
right.
that 8 feet's gone,
that 8 feet,
Right.
yeah,
and so from that set of double doors out there
yeah,
to that wall is 62 feet, and you got like 12 feet of hallway there. So you're back down to, you know,
So 30 by 40 would do it.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of,
Yeah.
like right now, I mean, that's kind of the cool part of the half door that got put in. So now if you kind of envisioned that if we ever had a modern type town office, you would actually come in through, and I would think you would have more like a doctor's office. You'd have a counter with a glass and
Yep.
slide through.
yeah.
So if you kind of go to the half door now and kind of look in, you realize that,
That's
wow,
the office.
we lose 6 feet
Yeah.
because to get to the counter, then we lose 2 feet for the counter.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
no,
I
it's,
mean,
it's terribly.
There's
laid out.
if you went to that, if we made that the norm from now on, we could cut that office completely in half. As far as how much wasted space there is now that's in there, so I think there's definitely a lot of different ways of doing things.
As far as the office what's in there, is there a lot of stuff in there that doesn't need to be in there? Or, you know, or do you
Whole set
feel?
of desks in the middle,
Yeah,
it's set up
Oh,
for 3,
true.
you only
Yeah.
need 2.
and you can only have two work the,
And that giant countertop. It
Yeah.
really doesn't need to be there.
No,
If you
no.
just had like,
Yeah, a
like,
little thing to write
like a
your check.
teller,
Yeah,
you write
That's
your
right.
check, pay
That's
taxes.
that's right, that's
Yeah.
true.
So I mean, a lot of places now, on the other side of that window is a counter or a stand-up desk with a computer terminal right there, so even when they come.
That's right.
You got a terminal and you're doing everything there.
But-
You're not like now where the girls literally have to go from the counter to the desk, to the desk.
That's the way
Forget
Litchfield
I
was.
guess that's the only thing, it's a little further to walk with that gate, but
Right.
it hasn't been a problem because there haven't been that many people, but,
Well, there's about to be none.
Right.
yeah.
But I mean, if you had a modern one, if you
Oh,
envision
yeah,
that
you'd sit
gate,
up-
Yeah,
Oh,
you'd
yeah.
be.
With a terminal
you'd be
right beside
there.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and there's a lot more privacy, because you don't have to worry so much about things laying on people's desk, and, you know, that's the other thing that I like about that.
No, if you were designing it from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
It would, and we talked about the public works, you know, if we reconfigure those I'd put a security system in, so you
Yes.
can see what's in your garage, you can see what's out back.
See the salt
And,
sand
you know,
pile,
yeah.
see absolutely.
So you always see who's coming and
poking
going.
around
You
and
can
looking
afford to
for
do that,
culverts.
yep, yeah, exactly. There's just a lot of things you can do when you're starting from scratch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And even this room, I mean, you take all this, that's a lot of wasted space. You know, I mean, we're just, 6 more feet off to the side that you're not even utilizing.
No, it's true.
Yeah,
I mean, on both sides.
I think that ends sinking.
yeah, yes,
That's,
yeah, it is.
that's why we
That's
sit this way.
moved-
I know.
We moved this desk.
I know, but
Because-
it looks worse at the moment, and,
Well, that's
Right,
seriously, when we
right.
was over there, that's why we switched it around, because
When
there's
you
one
sat over
spot
there,
that was like,
yeah, there's a place where you feel like you're gonna go,
Yeah.
it's like a hatch door or something, is it a hatch door?
yeah, that's what, there's supposedly there's a hatch or something over there, but they braced it underneath. I wonder if the brace come out.
Yeah, so,
But we should think about workshops, and
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how to advance the idea of a plan, I mean, ideally,
I've been looking online, I mean, but now I think we all have a little bit, or I maybe have some more time
okay.
to, you know, start, because it's out there, there's stuff out there, obviously, the big, huge, beautiful town halls in Oaks Bluff.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
hey,
But I even
No,
thought
but it
about,
was cool that
Oh, it was
all the
cool.
PDFs and all
Yeah.
the renderings are there, so I
Right.
mean, it's just, now we gotta find the small one.
like Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, it'd be perfect. But even if you were going through a little town and you saw one, boy, I like that, looks spanky. You probably, if you go in, introduce
Yes,
yourself,
Yes,
they'll show you around and give you the plan.
I was even here, I mean, Parkman driving by, I think they've got a really nice setup.
On their web page, it looks great.
yeah.
I mean, Abbott's is an older building, and that's a pretty nice setup.
Mm-hmm,
Depending on what extreme you wanted to go to, the Masonic Hall in Guilford is a really nice building.
I've only been in the downstairs
Yeah.
piece of it, but.
But I mean, there is a few buildings right here that
Levant
you
has
can
a
road
beautiful
trip.
little,
Really?
yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, and somebody did say during the town meeting, you know, you're gonna put some tacky thing, I mean, that's not our intent. I mean, you know what I
I
mean?
just think there was a fair amount of negativity.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, you know, that's not, I mean, obviously, we're gonna want to build something that,
Tacky? Is there anything any more tacky than the carpet that's in this building that everybody's walked across for how many years?
I don't know.
Well, it's a little tacky, I think, to spend $10,000 a year heating a place when you could do it for, Matt told me he goes through 1 tank of fuel a year in that building that he was describing. I mean,
Yeah.
how fair is that?
Yeah, no,
Pave a road,
right,
That's,
right.
that's.
That's exactly right, yeah.
Yep.
so. All right, I think we're all on the same page.
Yes.
So I'm gonna zip all the way down to correspondence. Any? Cool. Additional agenda items from anyone? No? Selectmen's concerns?
One thing, Brady, I know you put out a question whether you had gotten the information on the broadband.
Yeah,
Did anybody respond to that?
Yes, Mike
Okay.
said that you talked to
Mr.
Mr.
Barney
Barney, but
was
I
here.
couldn't,
You were
Oh.
here.
He was the owner, remember the guy?
Should be in the
that-
minutes,
Yeah.
set of minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I was trying to find the
But
minutes.
was it 2 years ago?
about,
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I was gonna look it up for
I
you.
found a letter that was written to Moosehead that said that, is it Moosehead Cable, or is it Moosehead something now, but, that allowed the box to be,
There you go.
That's,
Put it out.
that's what
Yeah.
it was.
but, so I went and looked at all those, and there's no mention of,
Go for an audio right around that time,
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
cause he was here.
But that was essentially the deal. We granted him permission to put the box there in exchange for internet for the municipal offices
Right, for the municipal,
forever.
right,
yeah,
I guess as long as he owned the company,
yep.
Yeah.
so.
well, it's forever, whether he owns the company or not, so.
Well, I don't know if he signed like an encumbrance or, but
Well, see, I can't find anything.
hopefully.
You
it-
can't find a contract
I
or
can't
a-
find
We
a-
didn't do a contract.
We didn't?
I don't believe we did. I don't remember ever signing anything.
I thought Lois had him sign something.
I did too.
Well, maybe while we're cleaning, we'll find it, but
There
we
you go.
couldn't,
You'll definitely find the minutes somewhere.
Definitely,
Yeah.
well, there's definitely an audio up there.
okay,
And I got a feeling, I mean, I don't have a problem calling the gentleman if we can find his name.
Yeah.
And he signed in.
I don't have a problem reminding him.
yeah. And it's not hugely important, it's just that
Well,
I had Glenn Nicholas here looking at our computers and cleaning stuff up, and he's gonna need to do some more cleanup, but, Lorna needed Internet Explorer on her computer because the state still uses Internet Explorer and she can't, with the newer browsers, she can't get her, reports and her, her vital records to print properly and her Moses stuff.
What did you end up doing with your old computer?
It's still hooked up. What they've put on this is teamwork, team something. So now if I sign onto this, it'll show me directly that computer. So we haven't switched yet.
Cause yours and theirs is the newer one.
Is the newer one.
Right.
It's not and it doesn't seem to be a problem of newer, it seems to be a problem of, I think things
Well,
are
it's most
slow.
up to date.
Yeah, things are slow because there's a lot of
Crap on it.
crap and cleanup that needed to be done. So he didn't put much of anything on this one. I will save everything to that one. So this will still run faster and cleaner than the other one.
Right, but when it's all said and done, that should be the only computer you need. You shouldn't need another computer at your desk.
Yep. Yeah, we could get there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he should be doing.
Yeah.
Cause you still should only need 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way there, cause one of the girls could go away.
Yeah, and I can't remember if Doreen's or Lorna's was older, but
Lorna's,
Lorna's,
if I remember right, cause it was Alvina's was, right?
which is now Sarah's, which is now Sarah's.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
so,
Okay,
so
And
yeah, so it would
Yeah,
be Sarah's
that's it.
computer that was,
Was the name of that company Premium?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
We should be able to find the offices right online.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I'm sure.
Yep.
But I thought it would be better to have something in hand if you guys had signed something to know what I was.
he'll remember.
Oh, yeah, he would definitely remember.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, any other
Wait.
selectmen concerns?
No,
No?
Make a motion to adjourn?
second.
Okay. Favor, all in favor? We are adjourned.